evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 trap cards this format. Now obviously this is the TheCaliEffect's opinion and you guys can definitely drop yours down below. But I thought we should just continue on to the series because you guys love it so much. So without further ado, I present to you the top 5 trap cards of this format and some good reasons why. Number 5 on this list is Solemn Strike. Now, Solemn Strike is a counter trap card that debuted in Breakers of Shadow, and its effect basically reads you can pay 1500 life points to negate the special summon of a monster that does not start a chain, or you can use that 1500 life points to negate a monster's effect and destroy it. Solemn Strike is a counter trap card, so like I said, it meshes really well with Guiding Ariadne. You know, Ariadne being able to search a counter trap card practically when it's destroyed, it only helps Solemn Strike's case that it's at 3. So when Guiding Ariadne does get destroyed, you get to show your opponent 3 Solemn Strikes to add to your hand. It's a pretty good card, but there are a lot of ways around this card. First of all, Solemn Strike can't stop monster summons that are special summoned through a card effect unless it's a monster effect. But then necessarily you're not stopping the chain, you're stopping the monster's effect through Solemn Strike. The next thing about Solemn Strike is that it has to stop the card directly. Monarch players have gotten smart by this by activating cards like Return of the Monarchs and then summoning their Monarch and, you know, making the Monarch Chainlink 1 and Return Chainlink 2, so Solemn Strike can't be, you know, chained to the Monarch summon. In essence, Solemn Strike is a really good card still, but it's losing its popularity because 1500 life points is a lot when you're playing the other 2 meta decks. It's a trap card, so if you're not going first with it, you're probably going to lose going second. And thirdly, there are just too many ways around it. Number 4 on this list has a little bit more versatility. We're talking about Solemn Warning. And yes, the brothers are back on the list. Solemn Warning ranks higher on this list because at the cost of 2,000 life points, only 500 more, you can negate the summon of a monster. It really does not matter. It could be a flip summon through a monster effect, special summon through return effect. The only difference is that Solemn Warning can't stop most monster effects, such as the activation of Cosmo Tin Can to search. But then again, it could stop the activation of Cosmo Tin Can to special summon. Solemn Warning is a very good card, but at the same time, it's still limited to being a trap card, so you practically have to go first, and then it being at 1, it doesn't have as much synergy as Guiding Ariadne. Don't get me wrong, this card is still awesome, being able to negate almost any summon, and 2,000 life points, depending on the deck, couldn't even be a problem. But that's why it ranks number 4 on this list. Let's get a little higher and I can show you some really awesome trap cards. Number 3 on this list is Cosmo Joe. And what Cosmo Joe reads, at the cost of destroying one of your Cosmo cards, you get to banish one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard. Now, Cosmo Joe, and the reason why I say it's a cost is because if you're using it correctly, it basically translates to special summon 1 Cosmo monster from your deck, as well as banish 1 card on your opponent's field or graveyard. Furthermore, if your opponent has no other cards, proceed to OTK your opponent. Now, reasoning behind that is because if you are selecting a Cosmo ship as your target, especially if it's something like Dark Destroyer, you can destroy it, banish an opponent's card, and then special summon any Cosmo monster from your deck, as long as it isn't Dark Planet or Dark Eclipser, but who really plays those that much? The monster that you will be summoning will probably be a card that'll get you a significant amount of advantage and put some pressure on your opponent. The biggest thing about Cosmo Joe is that it's very relevant against the best deck of the format. That's right, being able to Cosmo Joe your opponent's graveyard Erebus is pretty good, so that's that. Or being able to banish your opponent's the Prime Monarch after they've already used this effect and you sent it back to the graveyard could be the tilt that you need to put the game into your favor. Cosmo Joe is an awesome card. Number 2 on this list is an all-time favorite. I mean, this card has been relevant for, if I remember correctly, 12 years. That's right, Call of the Haunted. This card is awesome. Now, basically, Call of the Haunted has a very simple effect. You target 1 monster in your graveyard and you special summon it. I remember back in the day, we used to target our face down, our graveyard Jinzos in the graveyard. That doesn't make sense. If it's already in graveyard, why did I say graveyard twice? We used to target our Jinzo monsters in the graveyard and special summon it after our opponent activated Mystical Space Typhoon. That way, Jinzo negated the Call Out on It, and when Mystical Space Typhoon destroyed the Call Out on It, well, Jinzo was practically unaffected, giving us a 2400 attack monster. Now, Call Out on It serves a bit of a different purpose. Call Out on It has been relevant for quite a couple of years, from being in a Satellar deck now to Cosmos in almost any deck that can abuse the graveyard. Being able to special summon a Dark Destroyer off your tin can is awesome, and the fact that when Dark Destroyer is destroyed, it still fetches another monster. So if your opponent is deciding to call Mystical Space Typhoon your Call Out on It, you can still have some remnants of the Jinzo, flipping the face up Call Out on It to special summon one of your Cosmo ships. When it's sent back to the graveyard, you get its effect. Isn't that awesome? Call Out on It is just a really good card because it special summons monsters from your graveyard, and we don't have a lot of generic recursion. I mean, there is Dragons of the Oasis Souls, which then turns your monster into a worm and prevents it from being a System of a Down target, but I just feel that those can be both put at the same spot. That's why we're just going to put Call Out on It. Ultimately, it's a great card. Special summoning from your graveyard is still a great thing. Before I go into depth about number one, because number one is obviously the best card of the format, or the best trap card in the TheCaliEffect's opinion, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of trap cards that don't get a lot of love, especially in this format where trap cards don't seem to be that great right now. I want you guys to post down below in the description, what do you think the top 5 trap cards are? And if you guys agree with this list, post some trap cards that you think could be honorable mentions. Number 1 on the list is the Prime Monarch, and the reason why this card is number 1 on the list is its effect speaks it all. Its first effect is that you get to target two Monarch spell or trap cards in your graveyard, shuffle them to the deck, and draw the card. A little mini searchable pot of avarice, that's good. But the second effect makes it over the top. You get to special summon this card from your graveyard by banishing a Monarch spell or trap card from your graveyard. It has 2400 defense. Also, it says this is not a trap card. So the number 1 trap card in the game is not a trap card when you're using it most of the time. Being able to special summon a monster on your turn or on your opponent's turn, not only to block attacks, but to set up for tribute summons, is awesome. The fact that it's a level 5 light monster only makes it more awesome for extra deck monsters. You know, being a light target to make cards like Constellar Pleiades, or just being a level 5 monster to even synchro summon with if you still play Ghost Ogre. This card is nothing less of an example of a very balanced but broken card. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. Again, I want to see you guys' top 5 trap cards of the format. Post them down below in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.